Yes, indeed. Whip Appeal, episode 4. We back. Young Train, Coach Rita, the GOAT Myron. How y'all doing?
I'm good again.
Coach Rita, what's up with you?
I'm good. We're officially in shootout season, which means we're ticking down to the high school basketball season. So I'm feeling good.
When do y'all start?
Officially, season starts November 18th. Will be our first day of practice.
Okay. How y'all looking?
Good. We did a good job at the shootout at Seneca Valley this past weekend.
Oakland Catholic, stand up.
You know what I mean?
Are you on time for practice?
No.
Okay, just checking.
No. I pull up as soon as I can get off of work and skedaddle over there. But I was batting 1,000 for game day, so there's that.
That's good.
And then we have another shootout this weekend at North Allegheny, so more practice.
Train, what's good with you?
I'm good. Just chilling.
Chilling?
Yes, sir.
You out there doing them camera things?
I am.
Making a name for yourself on these interwebs?
Trying to. Yep.
So you've been over at Quip a lot. You were at their final regular season game, Aliquippa versus Central Valley at Central Valley. Undefeated Aliquippa. What was that game like?
Oh, it was a great environment to be in, honestly. Central Valley brought everyone out. It was at Central Valley. Those games go back as a big Whippeal rivalry. Those teams don't like each other at all. That's no secret. So it was definitely a good game, exciting game for sure.
Quip took the dub.
They did.
Any tense moments? Any highlights? Anything that you noticed?
I mean, there was definitely fair share of highlights. You know, Tyke doing his thing. John Tracy, guys like that, Deuce. Everyone on the Quip side, I think, did their job. Central Valley had a lot of momentum going in the first half, and the Quip fans were a little quiet, a little worried. I was a little worried, but you know, they pulled it out. They locked it in. So yeah.
So after a game like that these days, apparently these young folks be on live or IG or wherever they're at, like saying some things. Was some things being said on live after the game? What was that like?
Hey man, there may or may not have been some things said on live.
Statements were made.
Or on the story. Statements were made, you know.
Any examples?
You gotta.
What was said?
Hey, I cannot speak these things, you know. If you saw it, you saw it. If you didn't, you know.
I got to catch.
Translation.
You know.
I ain't snitching on my people.
Right.
The block was hot.
Yeah, man. No, that's cool. I mean, it's a really interesting environment that young athletes have now because it extends to social media.
Yes, it does.
And so, does your team have a policy about players and social media? Do you coach them in that area about how to handle themselves, or do you just leave them to themselves?
We do not currently have a policy. I know a lot of our girls are on TikTok, and every now and again I'll kind of hop in one, but we don't currently have one on best practices for Oakland.
Okay. Something to think about. We got our first Whip Appeal interview coming up. Coach Mike Warfield from Aliquippa, head football coach, coming into the playoffs undefeated, ranked number 1 in the state, I believe. He's been coaching there for 4 years. He's 2 for 4 state championships.
I'll take those odds.
You know what I'm saying?
I'll take those odds.
Pretty good.
You know,
That's all right.
a lot of expectations coming up this playoffs. They got a bye this week, and then next week it will begin. So, you know, we're about to get into it. Coach Warfield, what up, though? Whip Appeal interviews. Yes, y'all. Very proud to have as our first guest, Mike Warfield, head coach of the football team at Aliquippa High School, the Aliquippa Quips. Yes, indeed. Coach Warfield, how are you doing today? What's going on?
I'm doing good, Jesse. Thanks for having me to you and Reed. Appreciate you having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So I'm gonna get my tech straight here. You know, I'm an old person, and so I can't really do things that well. But I think if I pin your view here, add pin, you know, well, we're gonna make it work one way or another. Coach Warfield, you've made it through the regular season undefeated. The playoffs begin. You have a first round bye. How are you feeling about your team and your opportunities as the playoffs begin this fall?
I feel pretty good at this point. We had a week off, and you know, one of my pet peeves is that we don't waste the day. So we had a really good week of practice. We practice every day. We're gonna go out today again and practice. We're gonna do a little hitting today because I don't want the kids to not go without hitting for 2 weeks. So we really toned up on some things, got our timing down. So we didn't waste a week. But Jesse, to be honest, I'm always a little bit nervous when we go undefeated because I always say sometimes when we win, you actually lose. Second state championship we had, I think we won it because we had lost the previous 2 years. So when kids are winning, they don't look at the little things. They think they know it all. Sometimes when you lose, then now they got to listen to you. So, I'm really cognizant of that. I got our staff really cognizant on that and not letting the kids get complacent in doing their assignments. So I'm up and down on that relative to, going undefeated. But I'm really pleased that how the week went with our preparation.
Mm. What has been different about this season? I believe this is your 5th year, correct?
Yeah, this is my 6th year.
6th year, okay.
Yeah.
And so what's different? You've won 2 championships before. What's different about this team in this season?
As everyone's known, it's been written about the last few years we've been blessed with we had 3 big guys up front. And, being a small school, playing up 3 classes, you could have just specialty guys, and there's no disrespect to the lower classes, and still winning at 1A, 2A, and sometimes 3A. But when you're in 4, 5, and 6, you better have some studs up front. So losing those 3 big guys, we had to do it a little different way. Being a small school, I can't coach based on my philosophy, what I want to do. I have to base, what we do on our talent. So we got some studs, especially, but we were young up front. So we're just trying to do it a different way. So I'm pleased with how the young guys has came through. I talk to the seniors and say, hey, you got to be patient with these young guys because it's going to take some time for them to really get into the speed of the game as far as high school athletics.
Hmm. So I think one of the things that's special about your job is that coaching at Aliquippa is about so much more than football. Could you talk about that a little bit and how, it seems like in a lot of ways your job the most important part of your job starts when practice ends?
Absolutely. Every day is something, but I accept it. Reflecting back even earlier when I knew we was going to have a conversation, the article you first wrote, I really didn't think about, what I was getting into. And really, I read your article that, this is meaningful. But for me, it's not about wins or losses. Initially, it was just about, giving back to a program that's meant so much to me. I always say without Aliquippa football, I don't know where I would be. I definitely wouldn't be taking care of my family the way I choose to, rather than the way I have to. So it's been a blessing. But I accept that, being in Aliquippa, coaching Aliquippa, being from Aliquippa, you have to accept that part. And, I always tell our coaches, we have to be that safety net for the things that our kids don't have, either at home or just in their personality. We got to be that safety net to catch them. So at times it's challenging, but that challenge comes with, with some good things as well. So I'm happy just to be able to give back, and the situations we deal with them as they come. And more often than not, it's a good thing.
That's awesome. Coach, I have a question for you. You in a previous life, or you were a state trooper, you work in law enforcement in some capacity?
Yes, I was for 25 years. I was a state trooper, but I was assigned to the DEA for 20 of those years. So I was assigned to the task force group, in which it was like 9 of us, and we investigated individuals who were involved in large scale drug trafficking from Jamaica, California. So I retired in 2018. And I was just fortunate enough in 2019, I was appointed the law enforcement coordinator for the U.S. Attorney's Office here in the Western District. Initially, it was Scott Brady, who was appointed by President Trump. And then I continued on when President Biden nominated Cindy Chung. So I left there in 2022, and I work for McKesson Pharmaceuticals now.
Wow. Can you talk about how that background plays into your ability to connect with kids, especially who may not have a positive relationship with someone with that background and that career path?
Absolutely, absolutely. And even, while I was with the DEA, I could have worked anywhere, choose to work outside of my community.
Mhm.
Me, I felt if I didn't try to do something, I'm just as guilty as the person standing on the corner slinging what they sling. So I did do some cases in my town, which it wasn't personal to me. It was just trying to make the community safer. And a lot of the people I coached, some of the people I coached, I've dealt with their parents or loved ones on that in that capacity as well. But
Wow.
um, I never took it personal. I just took it as an opportunity for me to try to tamp down some of that the violence that was going on surrounding illegal drug trafficking activities. But the people know me here; they know my intentions. I always say, as long as you live with good intentions, everything will be fine. So um, it has helped me tremendously. I remember, I had forgot about it, but one of the kids I coached a few years ago, it was so ironic in that I had did a search warrant in his house relative to a relative, and he was a little boy then, and he remembered to that day that I grabbed him out of bed and took him downstairs. So I don't look at that as something to poke my chest out. It's just a situation of our community, and just trying to make our community better. So yes,
That's awesome. Thank
That's
you.
amazing. You did a search warrant in one of your players' homes.
yes,
Wow. What was 2020 was a momentous year in our nation's history, and we had the whole George Floyd situation. Um, and the Black community's relationship with law enforcement was probably at a low point then. What was
yes.
that time like for you as a member of law enforcement? I've been in Aliquippa. I've seen the way people respect you and talk about you, and they know that you're an ally. What was the George Floyd revolution like for you personally?
To me, and as Jesse and Rita, that's a good question because when I was at the U.S. Attorney's Office, that's when it was going on. So, my position there was I was like the right hand man for the U.S. Attorney, and we traveled and we discussed things, and my job was just to put out his agenda, and part of that was to talk about the George Floyd incident. And for me, being from Aliquippa, a single parent, growing up, I just made a couple different choices that put me on the right path. Is that one thing that I always try to stress to people is sometimes our community is hypocritical, and we don't be honest with each other because and it frustrates me because at times if that was in our community we base off typically you live based off your reality, okay, and for me that's not my reality. Fortunately or unfortunately, my reality in Aliquippa is Black kids killing Black kids, and we're not honest about that all the time. And I know the George Floyd thing was a horrible thing, but I can't dispute that, can't argue with it, can't. But my reality, as far as my community, is we're hurting each other, and we have to be honest about that. A kid 3 years ago, one of my players, one of my best players, the year we won it in 21, got shot, and no one has marched about that. The case is unsolved. People know who did it, but no one's coming forward. So we're sort of hypocritical. Now, if that was a white police officer who did it, it would be an uproar. So that frustrates me at times because we're doing it to each other. And that's my reality. That's our reality in the community. I've never seen, or there's never been, God forbid, a white cop killing a young Black kid in Aliquippa. It hasn't happened. It's us killing each other. And if we want to be serious and solve the problem, we have to be truthful about it and deal with it in that aspect.
Why do you think it's so difficult for our community to confront the violence that comes from our community?
It's tough. It's tough. Number one, it's difficult for just an average citizen to try to stand up to people who are out there who's promoting that violence, and all of it is surrounding about making money. I understand people who don't want to come forward, the fear of retaliation and things like that. I totally get that, but we have to do it collectively, and when we got to call a spade, so to speak. And when it happens, we all have to stand up and fight against it. If not, it's just going to continue.
Mm. Well, look who's joined us today, my man Myron Brown. And Myron, you
Right.
have pointed out our lateness in the past, so I would be remiss did I not point out that the podcast started at 1 o'clock, but you showed up after 1. What do you got
Here's
to
what I
say for
do
yourself, my
know.
brother?
First of all, I apologize, but what I did know was the time of the meeting. I just happened to look up. So sorry for me being late. What's up, Coach? How you doing?
Good, Myron. Thank you. How you doing?
I can't complain. Hey, just to chime in on what you're talking about with the violence in our neighborhoods, my opinion really is you got to actually say in all neighborhoods, you're going to have the crime be with the people that you live. So most crime for Black people is going to be against other Black people, just like in the white communities. Most of their crimes are going to be against other white folks. So with that being said, it's more of an uproar when it is white cops killing Black kids, just as it would be if it was a Black cop killing a white kid. So from that standpoint, you sometimes see where they're talking about Black on Black crime. That's such the norm. It really isn't normal when you have the Black cops killing the Black kids. So I can understand. But like you said, when you have the outrage, we got to have the outrage the same, whether it's Black on Black, white on Black, Black on white. The outrage should be the same in all scenarios in unnecessary violence.
I totally agree with you.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a tough situation, and I think that a lot of the resistance comes from the fact that our community has been, we've been demonized, and folks from outside our community say, "Oh, you guys are, what's your problem? You're doing this to each other." But the roots of us and the violence in the Black community is oppression, it's lack of opportunity, it's dudes are on the corner because they don't have an opportunity to an equal opportunity to get good paying jobs and things like that. But people just look at the end result. And so I have detected a real resistance in our community to confront and call this, like Coach, you're saying, we need to call it what it is when we're killing each other.
Right.
And the reasons why we're killing each other, I think, are really rooted in oppression. But folks have used that against us so long that now it's a sore spot. And so when people bring it up, we're like, no, what about these cops killing us and stuff like that? It is a really difficult problem to solve. But I think, and segue alert, sports and football in particular and Quip has provided a real outlet and like saved a lot of kids. Hadn't saved everybody, but it has saved a lot of them. What type of advantages and disadvantages do you believe Aliquippa has because of the makeup of the community when it comes to football?
Advantages and disadvantages. I
Yeah,
think
when it comes to football.
I think it's the same in any low income area. I think our problems are similar, and I totally agree with Jesse, Jesse, and Myron on what you stated. But my feeling on it is that all that's true. No one can dispute what you guys said is been false. It's true. But as a person in this time, what do you do in the meantime? Until it's corrected, until it gets better, until our situation changes, what do you do in the meantime? And I try to teach our kids is, we all know you're dealing with some tough situations. Some of our kids are in some tough situations. It's not the fault of themselves. It's the fault of them just being born into a family that's not on the right page. So what do you do in the meantime? And you have to outwork it. You have to outwork it until it gets better. We as a community have to outwork it until it gets better. I'm not saying stop fighting to make it better, but you individually as a person have to keep working until it gets better. Your situation, single parent, low income, don't have a father, tough situations. You might be dealing with some mental issues, tough situations, but you have to keep working until that situation gets better. If not, you're just going to get caught up and it's just going to continue. Then your kids is going to continue. So I don't disagree with nothing that you said, but for your motivation has to be different, and you just have to keep working until it gets better. You have to outwork it, unfortunately.
Speak
What
on
I
it.
tend to say, Jesse, not to bust in, but I say to young folks, you have a choice. Every single day you wake up, you have a choice to do the right thing. Whether that's, going out to getting a tough job at McDonald's, whether that's helping out the elderly folks in the community, you have a choice to do the right thing. So for me, you might have things stacked against you, but there's a better way than resorting to violence, resorting to things that aren't the right thing. So every day you can always say, all right, what is my choice going to be today? Do I want to do right? Do I want to do wrong?
I agree with you. That's true. And in addition to that, a lot of our people have fewer choices than
Absolutely.
everybody else. I mean, I've been blessed that my kids have more choices. They can, they because of their circumstances. A lot of other Black kids don't have all those choices. So I think we have to recognize that. So, like, yes, kids are making the wrong choices. I do understand how you could be led to that choice. It's, in those situations. So I agree with you. I'm not contradicting you, Myron, but I just want to point out that a lot of times our options are limited. Rita, what do you got to say about that?
Understood.
I mean, yeah, I think that as long as we criminalize poverty, it's going to be it's going to be violent in our communities. And I think that for many of us, sports ends up being that pathway. It's something that you can absolutely control your efforts in. So on that note, I'm curious, what's a life lesson or so that the Aliquippa football team is blessed to receive from Coach Mike Warfield?
I think it's just a way to live. Living with good intentions. Don't waste time. That's our motto. We don't waste a day. And I let the kids know, and this is about life too. This is how I treat my kids. So I treat my players the same way I treat my kids. Is that, between 4 and 7, don't get me wrong. We're going to compete. It's going to be uncomfortable. We're going to make it difficult. It is difficult. But at 7:01, I love you like a son. My phone is always on. You could call me about anything. But that's what life is. And that's just about handling your responsibility, taking care of your responsibilities. And I think kids, that's something kids have to learn is how taking care of your responsibilities. Not telling you not to have fun, not telling you not to enjoy yourself. But from this point period, between 4 and 7, it's football. 7:01, we're going to laugh and joke. And how I treat you between 4 and 7 as a football player is not how I feel about you as a person. I think some coaches combine that and they make the kids feel that, okay, this is how I think about you as a person. No, you just need to get better, like it's sort of in basketball, really. You need to be able to dribble better. But you're still a good person, or you need to work on that jump shot. But you're still a good person. But a lot of coaches combine that and make the kids feel that that's how they really feel about them as a person. No, I'm talking to you as a football player right now. What you need to improve on as a football player right now. That's not how I feel about you as a person, because I could be brutal with kids between 4 and 7, and I always tell my kids the truth about athletics, because if you don't, they have expectations that they can't reach. And that just puts them on another path of doing something else. But I think that works for us in Aliquippa. The kids can take it. I know Jesse's been to some practices, and I get, to staff, we get raunchy sometimes, but you need to know.
But it comes from a place of love, though.
Yeah, if you can't handle this between 4 and 7 in Aliquippa, when we get to AccuSure or the state championships, you're definitely not going to be under there. So we need to know, like, right now. But at 7:01, I love you.
Yeah. So I want to finish up. You mentioned that, you treat them like you treat your kids, and your son Isaiah is a hooper. He's like that, and he's about to begin his season at Howard University, the real HU. Let's conclude. Give me some proud dad moments just about Isaiah, the path he's traveled to get where he is as a basketball player, and what you're expecting from his basketball season this year.
I'm excited for him. I mean, my son, he went to Sewickley, then he was at Central Valley, then he went to Liberty. So the atmosphere he's been around is different from Howard. And I never thought he would make that choice. He graduated in 3 years, so he has 2 more years of eligibility at Howard.
Ooh, he's going to be a problem.
Yeah, we took an official visit there, and Kenny Blakeney, the coach there, me and my wife and Zay went. and they showed us a really good time. The atmosphere, just the people. Of course, the facilities aren't as nice as Liberty, but just the people were just so friendly, and just they were genuine to me. And he made that choice. I'm happy about it. So he, and like I tell our kids, I have nothing to do with your playing time. You got to earn that. Daddy can't help you on that one. And for me, just seeing him grow as a person, because I remember dropping him off at Liberty, and I thought it would be my wife that would break down, and it was. And I was crying. I was like,
I love it.
what is wrong with you? Because I just felt, Mike, did you spend too much time in the garage dribbling and worrying about his jump shot? Did I teach him enough about life? So I was just broken out. Now I don't talk to him about basketball. We talk about life things. So that's what I'm proud of, just the person he's becoming. He went through some challenges. And this is another story relative to, we have a lot of athletes that think they want to go Division I, but it is a struggle. It is a struggle both mentally and definitely physically. But the things these kids go through being a Division I athlete, some kids just can't deal with, because the mental stress, it's a job, and it's cutthroat. And some kids can't deal with that loneliness. And so I always ask my players, you sure you want to do this? Because this is going to be some difficult times, which is good. I love struggle. And you have to enjoy the struggle, though. So I'm happy and proud of him about just who the young man he's become so far.
Well, that's amazing. We're going to have to get Isaiah as another guest on Whip Appeal. Coach, thank you so much for your time. Definitely the type of topics that you brought up and the issues that we're dealing with in our community, love, respect, violence. This is why we have our show, to bring our community together to be able to talk about this. So thank you for your insight and your talents. Good luck in the playoffs, Whippio and beyond. Let's go Quips.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys. Hey, you guys have a nice day. I'll talk to you soon.
You too, Coach. Appreciate your time.
All right.
All right. One thing I want to bring up to you guys is a tweet that I noticed on the interwebs, on the site formerly known as Twitter, from Central Catholic Football. Great program. They're probably going to, they got a good chance to win state. A lot of great players coming out of there, sending kids D1 year after year after year. And let's see here. Got to go on the Twitters here. Check the Whip Appeal Twitter if you're not on it already. We got some good things popping over there. So, Central Catholic has retweeted or reposted or whatever you call it. The school put out a little recruiting tweet. We look forward to seeing prospective families and students at our open house on November 6th, and Central Catholic Football reposted it. Yeah, okay, cool. My question is, isn't that recruiting by Central Catholic Football? Can't that you're putting out a tweet that says, "Hey, our football team would like you to come and check out our school." It's not directed at anybody. It's directed at the Whippy at large. What do y'all think? Recruiting or nah?
Nah,
not recruiting. Why not?
I don't think it's recruiting personally, just because, the football page reposted it. So it's like, I think we all know, like, obviously what they're trying to do, but it's not. I don't think it's recruiting. I think that they could repost it and it'd be all right. It's not like the football page posted it themselves and said, football players come to the open house, So I think that's, in my eyes, that's not a violation.
Coach Rita?
I think it's a tool, though, to attract them to the school. The recruit becomes when they get to the school and they see the facilities and they see and meet some of the players. That's when it starts to turn into a true recruiting process. But they're definitely saying, hey, come look at our facility. That's an advantage. Come here and look. And they said perspective. So that absolutely says they're trying to recruit in a way.
Do I think in and of itself it's recruiting? No. I think it's amplifying the fact that Central obviously wants more students there. But to your point, when the facilities and the record and the product is such a high quality. It only helps if you get the people on campus, on the school grounds, that it would just make it that much more enticing than perhaps it would have been otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's recruiting. I think it's the football team telling people who follow the football account, who are interested people in football and a lot of prospective families, come here and check out our school. And I think there's nothing wrong with it. I don't think they should be punished, fined, suspended, violated. That's just normal. The football team wants to recruit players to come there. There's rules against that in the WPIAL and the PIAA. You're not allowed to do that. So I think it's just another example of these double standards that we have. So some ways, if you know how to evade the letter of the law, then
loophole.
The loopholes, right? It's a loophole, then we'll look the other way. But if you are not connected enough to know the ins and outs of it, then they'll suspend you or fine you, or you'll get in some trouble, or a kid in the worst case scenario will be ineligible. So, straighten these rules up. WPIAL, straighten up.
Does it matter if it's targeted? Like, does it have to be at someone? Like, obviously, we spoke a couple weeks back about Coach Burke, and that was very much a direct person-to-person conversation. That's speaking into the vacuum of the interwebs. Does that make a difference, and should it make a difference?
I don't think it should, because you're saying to the good players that are willing to come look at our program, hey, come on down. For me, it shouldn't be a punishment like Jesse said, but it's absolutely a tool to have an advantage to get people that may not otherwise look at Central Catholic.
And I'm cool with it. Go ahead and recruit. I mean, it's a real thing. They got a great program, great team, I was just riding and picked up my son and some of his friends, and we're in Quaker Valley. This is a Quaker Valley kid who shall remain nameless, who's a baller, and he went to Central. And I said, yo, what up? Redacted. How's it going down there at Central? And he said, man, just playing ball. That's a quote. Just playing ball. That's and then we talked about football for a minute. He said, yeah, I might get a ring.
Aww.
Yeah, so what's wrong with that? Man?
Right.
That's awesome.
Let him live.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. So as your season gets into gear here, we get to the good sport of basketball. And apparently there's the young people have some phrases that are, evading that I don't understand. So what is this things that make people go ick? What is it? Can you explain this?
No, it's an ick.
It's an ick.
Oh, it's an ick.
It's an ick.
Yeah.
Like noun ick. That's an ick.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Trey.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What does ick
So
mean?
it's like the rebrand of like a pet peeve. It's an ick. Like, that's when people do this, that's a pet peeve. When people do that, that's an ick.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes.
I learned something new today.
That's cap.
I'm deceased. Deceased.
So I heard cap, and I'm like, what is that's cap? What's wrong with he's lying? You know what I mean? That's cap. Come on, man.
It was just like it's P. It's P. You remember that, or you wasn't?
Nah.
P. Like P was just like cool. Like, oh yeah, that's P. That's P of you.
Maybe we're just too old.
No, but Myron, it's like
missed
when
that
we
one.
were
Yeah,
their
y'all had
age,
your
and you
slang.
say, yeah, we had our slang. Yo, that's fresh.
Right.
Dope.
Understood.
Yeah, so you got we have to recreate and be inventive.
But
and
it didn't change the meaning. You understood. Fresh was smell good,
But
look good.
It makes sense.
Dope.
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 There you go.
Dope was a whole different thing.
Absolutely.
It's just different.
I stand corrected.
Dope has a long shelf life.
Right.
Dope is still dope.
Dope
Right.
Dope is still dope.
Dope,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
But I
preservative,
guess
isn't
dope
it?
is good if you're giving it to a dope fiend.
Yikes.
So,
No, dope is never
Yikes.
good. Dope is never
Say no to
good.
drugs.
to a dope fiend.
Oh no, it's not been good for them either.
Well,
Or
that's
the
another
community.
conversation
Okay.
for another
It just
day.
depends on perspective.
Right.
From the dope fiend perspective.
Oh
and stuff.
Jesus.
Coach Rita, what are some of the things that you see on the court that make you that's an ick for you? What's your ick?
What?
Right? No, I didn't. All right, I got to chill.
It is what it is.
I still don't really
we got the
understand
point.
it.
It was
We
close.
got the point. We got the point across.
So when I played, one of the icks was when girls play with their hair down. It just like ugh. So that would be an ick.
What's wrong with that?
It's just it was stuck. It wasn't good. It's like, how are you focused? You don't feel kind of gross with your hair flying all over the place?
Who's the woman from? She just finished up at Stanford. Haley.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Is that hair down? Was her hair down?
Yeah, but I wasn't. That's not what I was envisioning.
Really? What were you envisioning?
Like, there's protective styles that are kind of tough to manage, like one I have right now. So you're only gonna be able to pull it back so far. But if you have the capability to pull it back, if I could, I probably would. But if it's like stuck to your skin, or sis had like a headband and like a bang, and it would come down to like mid chin. It was stuck to her throat or neck. She was flicking it out the way mid game. It was a lot. It was a lot happening. So that would be my personal ick.
Myron, when we played, there were no long hairstyles. Train, was there ever any hair issues when you were hooping? For you or your opponents or your teammates, did anybody ever rub up on you and that like how did that work?
I wore a headband because my hair would get in my face or something.
Hang time.
So I would wear a headband just to keep it out of my face. But no, I played against a couple of dudes with like long dreads or whatever, but they always would have it up or like in a ponytail or something like that to keep it out. I know what you're trying to get at.
What am I trying to get at?
You're trying to get at.
What am I
You're
trying to get at?
get a reaction out of the old heads of talking about some long hair in the generation. Y'all had Jerry curl, we got dreads.
You ever have a Jerry curl, Myron? Nah, me neither. Nah.
Now, would
You had an afro.
I did have an afro.
Well, afros were,
Shout out to the afro.
Yeah.
I didn't have an afro.
Believe it or not, I had cornrows too. Believe it or
I
not.
can see
never
that.
had
Yeah,
cornrows. I had peasy.
You had the peasy.
Yeah, little peasy.
You have a high top
little
fade?
cut. Little one.
Little
Not
one?
a high top.
Little box?
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Little box.
The
You
kid
have
in
the
play.
shag.
No.
No shit. Yeah, that was whack.
What's the
Raggedy.
shag?
Shaggy. Do we got the little hair on the back?
It grows
Okay.
long in the back.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying?
Nah.
that's a vibe.
No, it's not.
Terrible.
Someone's vibe.
It was like the early New Edition. Had the
Right,
shag,
Bobby Brown.
Bobby Brown, Ralph
Right.
Tresvant. You know what I'm saying? What?
So an ick, if I'm understanding correctly, would it be like James Harden pounding the ball for 18 seconds and then give it up to somebody?
Something so that bothers you.
That's
Something that bothers
Come
you.
on, man, stop.
That's your ick.
Yeah, when somebody's pounding the ball
Excessive
for the whole
dribble.
shot clock and then give it up to you and you got to force up a bad shot. That's an ick.
Don't they call that hot potato too? No, they threw me a time bomb. They threw me a time bomb.
grenade.
Yeah. I used to hate that when I was watching you play, and then you get it with 3 seconds on the clock, and I'm like, oh man, there goes the percentage.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You got to hoist
and
one.
then if you don't shoot it, your coaches are gonna get mad at you.
You know, that's
Like
whack.
shock
And
awareness.
if you don't shoot, it's a turnover because the clock ran out.
What's an ick for you, basketball wise or period wise, culture wise, right now? You got an ick.
An ick basketball wise, probably too many accessories. That's an ick.
There is a lot of accessories
Too
right now.
many accessories.
Like accessories like what?
accessories are cool. I'm talking about like if you have every accessory in the book on.
Shoot
Like
sleeve.
He went to sleep.
you got
Goggles.
finger tape, you got both sleeves,
Kinetic tape.
you got a shooting sleeve, you got leg sleeves, you got all these socks all the way up. Like or this could be controversial. The people who have all the best, like most expensive stuff, like all the expensive gear, expensive shooting sleeve,
And can't
you know what
shoot.
I'm saying, and are
Bums.
just not good.
Bum.
Trash.
To me,
Absolute
to me,
bum.
that's an ick.
Yeah.
Or if someone's like comes to pick up wearing like a jersey or
That's the
something.
name,
Yes.
right? That's the name,
That's
number
the
one.
That's the one. Yo, just FYI to all y'all marginal hoopers out there, don't wear a jersey to the run because we're going to spot you immediately and we're not choosing you.
It's not
We're not
necessary.
choosing you.
It's not necessary.
It's not.
Facts.
Now, some shorts though. Shorts.
Please have on shorts.
Yeah, there you go. Some shorts.
Well-
Like you could have on some NBA shorts and be
Oh yeah.
right?
But like
But you
you're
can't have a
wearing
Jordan shirt on.
usually more often than not, people who wear jerseys to play pickup are just like usually. I'm sure there's some exceptions out there, but
100%.
you know,
Don't come with a uniform on.
Right. And the full matching anything? Nah.
That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, these are the unwritten rules that we go by. You're immediately telling everyone that you're trash.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm a fan of sport, and I've never, ever wore a replica jersey, ever, of any sport.
Well, you're in the wrong. You're. I mean, I wore and continue to wear replicas. I wear a.
Not to a sporting event.
Oh, not to a game?
Yeah.
Well, not that sport though. So I wore a
See what you did?
a Homestead Grays jersey.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you
That's a
know what I
little
mean?
different.
That's
You didn't
big
go to a
energy.
Homestead Grays game.
I did not. I did
Aw.
not. Yeah, but that. Yeah, I get you. That is a big fan thing. Like I'm not a fan of
Right.
any. You know.
Right.
Of any current team, but jerseys was a thing, man. Like they was a real thing. Like you've never worn a sports jersey as fashion.
As fashion,
Mm-hmm.
but not go to a sporting event wearing a throwback
What
jersey.
was this 30-year-old Myron Brown when you're home from playing in the summer and you're going out down to the strip or whatever was popping in these years? What was the fit?
Just casual.
What
was casual then?
What was casual?
What was casual?
This is the 90s. This is 90s. You got some money in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? What was the fit?
Casual could be anything, turning up your lips about what?
I'm listening. Go ahead.
So I've always been more athletic gear wearing. So, nice sweats, easy t-shirt.
Can't
you know
go
what I
wrong.
mean? Yeah, you can't go wrong.
Nike
very,
sweats,
very plain.
Adidas,
Nike mostly.
Nike.
But, anything that looked good, I was cool.
Sweats to the club?
Some,
The cap, Greg.
but I didn't really go to the club. I ain't hang out like that.
Fair enough.
That's significant.
Oh, you're talking about just chilling,
Yeah.
like going out to eat or
I
something.
thought you
Oh,
was
yeah,
pulling up to the
fair
club
enough
with a
then.
tech suit on.
Fair enough.
Oh, no.
That's what I was like,
You
sir.
can't do that with tennis shoes.
when- I came
Right.
from an era where folks had on full business casual at the
Right.
club, so I just wanted to see when you said casual, what the casual mean for you? Because folks had on blazers
Yeah, so like
for
if
no
you
reason.
go to like one of the outside venues, you're not gonna wear no dress pants, shirt and tie. You're gonna be more comfortable in athletic gear more so.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
You're a hooper wearing hoop gear.
Right.
Represent. What was some of the poppin' venues in Pittsburgh that in
The
your
La
era?
Cantina back in the day.
The what?
Heaven, La Cantina, Heaven. Now these guys got Metropole was a pretty nice little spot we had back then. And then Savoy most recently was one of the nicer spots until stuff started going down. You know what they said, grand opening.
Grand closing. That makes me so sad.
Train don't know that.
I don't
He's
know
never
it.
heard it.
That's a Jay-Z line. That's a Jay-Z line.
No, that's Chris Rock.
Hey, I think he took it from Jay.
No,
We
Jay
might
took it from Chris Rock.
okay, could be. We
So they
might have
used
to
say,
investigate.
Train, they would say a club would open, a new club, and everything would be cool until stuff got bad, and it would close just as quick as it opened. So they say grand opening.
Grand closing. That's unfortunate
Right.
and accurate.
To close out the ick segment, and I'm not gonna speak it too much because I'm gonna mangle the usage of it and play myself
Me and you both.
as an OG. But things that bother me is people when we play basketball, people doing moves that you're not equipped to do. You can't make a jumper, but you shooting step backs. You can't make a left hand layup, but you trying to Euro step. Like, just keep it basic. Stay within your comfort zone of what you can really do. And if you can't shoot, then pass the rock.
What if he's trying to get better at shooting?
That's for
That's
practice.
not that.
We try to win.
You gotta practice in the game though.
No.
To get
Game like
better.
shots come in the game.
Situationally.
It just depends. If your goal and pickup is playing to win, then yeah. But if your goal and pickup is playing to get better, then you gotta step out your comfort zone sometimes.
Well, situationally, so time and score. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like
I
early in the
feel
game,
you,
but
I feel you.
at the end of the game, we trying to. We up 10-9, games 11.
Execute.
That's not your shot.
That's not your
It's
shot.
not for you.
Yeah. But self-awareness is in short supply.
Right.
People spend time on the internet and then want to go.
At every level.
You know what I'm saying? Not that I've never taken a bad shot.
No
More
one's
than-
saying
more than a
a
few.
bad shot, but when you got the guy that really thinks he's a shooter and he keeps pulling,
Everybody's a
doing?
shoot. Everybody thinks they're a shooter now. It's the
I
era
need
we live in.
makers. I need makers.
Key distinction.
Shout out to the makers. Shout out to the makers. So another interesting kerfuffle.
Oh,
Look that one up. There you go.
I love kerfuffle.
I got vocabulary over here.
Ooh.
And today's vocabulary word that I got is kerfuffle.
I like it.
Now.
That we saw on the internet was after Pitt got wit-axed by Notre Dame, Coach Narduzzi said, and I don't have the exact quote in front of me, basically said, we lost a lot of good players and we didn't replace them. And so my man Noah Hiles, shout to a real journalist, Noah Hiles out there, working for the local paper, tweeted out what he said, and the players saw it and started responding like, word.
He did forget what he said at the beginning, though. He acknowledged that he left that part out, Narduzzi. He said that he took responsibility for the loss at first, and then he said that.
Man, yes, that's true, but
he still did say that.
Yeah,
he still did say that.
But he took okay, the law. First of all, that's just coach speak for a cliche. So you're right. Factually, you're right. But coaches always say, yeah, this is 100% on me. Yeah, we didn't really replace our good players, though.
Whose job is to replace them?
Yeah, that's
Coach.
that is tough to hear, though. That's
Fam, you got to know the mic is rolling.
I agree. 'Cause like, you can't say that, and I'm not sure the exact quote. You could probably pull it up right now if
we'll
you
post
really
it.
To.
We'll edit it,
but
and we'll have it on screen as we have this
along
discussion.
Those lines is just like
man,
every head coach
that's
wants
just
to
that your players are,
have talent, and the assistants are out there in whatever capacity they're doing it, recruiting additional. If talking college game or recruiting additional talent, cool. But you don't feel good as a player if you hear like, oh, y'all scrubs, so sorry. Like, it's where's the motivation and the buy-in and the social safety in that? There is none at this point in the game.
It's not a new thing to put it on the players because you did it behind closed doors. The problem is he did it on a microphone.
That part.
We had many battles with my coach in college where he say flat out, you cost us the game. And you had to eat it if you cost us the game. One time I told a guy, you missed free throws, you choked. 2 games later, I missed free throws and we lost. So he said, hey, what happened? I thought you would never choke. So, and coach called you out on it. He said, you said something about so-and-so, and same thing fell on you. You cost us the game. But he would never go out in the media and say, I need better players. This is what we have, and nothing we can do about it. So that's a tough thing with Narduzzi did.
But this is the era that we're in, because the same day that Narduzzi said that, Coach Prime out there in Colorado, his son got jacked up, like 7 sacks. I think he got sacked 7 times and got hit 17 other times. He's limping. He's needing injections at halftime. And then they asked Coach Prime about the line, and he said, quote, unquote, we need better linemen.
And we're going to go get them.
Right. We go get better. We've got to go get better linemen.
Yep.
So they got half a season left.
Right. And that's not a knock. It's just saying it's
it
a
is
fact
a knock.
that it isn't.
That's
it is a
by
knock.
definition a knock.
This is our player that we have, but we need to get better.
He didn't say we need to get better. He said we need to replace this guy.
You on the chopping block.
We need better linemen. Not we need to develop our linemen. Not we need our linemen to get better. We need better linemen, i.e. different linemen. So this is the place that we're in college. So it ain't new. Like when y'all played, and especially more recently, like that the coach is always trying to, if they can get a better player than you,
they're trying for sure.
Right.
I mean, that's the goal, right? So one of my favorite assistants, like fellow colleagues, whatever, Coach Harney explained it to me this way. It's, hey, every year our job is to go out and over-recruit you. That's the goal. But in that time, you have the benefit of the whole program and all the resources. So it's up to you to basically stay above water. So I respect it, but I don't think it's ever been as far in the media and as well publicized, like, oh, your job's on the chopping block immediately as it is in, this year, 2023, this season.
So the job pressure is definitely part of it. But the coach is just coming out and saying, look, man, if you're a player and you're not, in my estimation, good enough, forget development, forget elevating your game, I'll just go get somebody else. Transfer portal, NIL, I'll go buy me a new left tackle. It's a tough time to play, man. That's the system that we live in. The players have more freedom because they can transfer, they can get paid. And so, but with that freedom comes responsibility and the risk of, hey, if you're getting hired,
you get fired.
Everyone's replaceable.
Everybody's
replaceable.
Yeah. And that's the nature of college sports right now. kind of tough.
Get the job done.
I think that's what high school kids don't understand. It's like, it's really a job market now. Like before, it's like, okay, where's the college place and location I can grow, and that ain't the landscape anymore. I would love to say it is, but it is not the land. Especially if you're talking the major sports, you might have some different options in track and tennis. I don't know, but football and basketball is not do or die. You know what I mean? But it's
Do or die.
But it is do or die for real.
Train, how did you feel about the pressure to produce when you were playing basketball in college?
Well, I think that it is like depends on the level, sort of like, you know, Drexel. No knock on Drexel, but it's not like they're a high major program, so they don't have recruits left and right, you know, like 4 or 5 star players that they could just be like, oh, you're not playing, like, and go get someone necessarily better. But there's always pressure, you know. There's always pressure to perform, especially just depending on your role on the team. If you're a guy that, you know, regardless, you're getting 15 shots a night versus it depends on if your first or second shot goes in. That depends on if you play the rest of the game. And I think a lot of the time, like, honestly, that was my role. Like, if I wasn't really if I didn't make my first or second shot, I was coming out, and I wasn't playing the rest of the game.
And that's tough to play under.
That
those
is tough.
conditions.
It is.
That's tough.
It is tough.
Until you learn how to play defense, then that got you a couple more shots.
That's significant.
It did.
That is
for
significant.
Sure. It did for sure. But so yeah, I think it just depends on like the leash that you have, like, you know, and the pressure. Knowing that I think a thing that I struggled with was that I was playing the game to not mess up a lot. Like I was playing the game, and the whole time I'm thinking, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to turn the ball over. I don't want to get scored on. Whereas I should have been playing in, like, I want to do this, like, positive instead of negative. And I think the negative mindset I think I overcame it, but it's definitely tough too. And once you're in that mindset, you can't play freely. You can't play like yourself. So I think that was like a big thing that I struggle with. And I mean, it depends on coaching styles, like obviously and your role on the team, like I said. But yeah, it's definitely tough. Like, there's pressure. I think at every level of sports, there's pressure. And as obviously the level goes up, the pressure goes up for sure. For sure.
That's huge.
What was the jump for you when you went from playing in high school to playing in college, Rita? Was it what you expected, or was it different? And if so, how?
So I had zero reference point for what college basketball would be like. So it was all doors blown off. No idea what that transition would be like. So it was just a matter of, you know, I knew one thing. I said, I came here to work. I came here for an opportunity, and I just put the time in, really came in out of shape, not understanding the scheme of things. But, you know, thankfully I came into school before the transfer portal, so I had some time to develop, some time to, you know, get to know my teammates, get to understand the scheme, understand hard work over necessarily results. And I tell you this, I was always available. I was one of the most durable players in the program. So for the 4 years I was there, I don't know if I missed any games for injury. So that allowed me a lot of time to adjust, to understand schemes, to pick up the knowledge I didn't get in high school.
A lot of times they say your best ability is availability.
Come on, somebody.
Available.
You know?
I'm here, coach.
I'm ready.
Put me in.
I can practice. What you need?
Yeah, man. And then when that opportunity comes, you gotta make something out of it. Yeah, man. That's what we got. Whip Appeal, Volume 4.
Nice.
Boom.
Peace.